Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Forgot to give that to you, Stephen. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. U'mevorach. Shabbat Shalom. U'mevorach. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Time for a capo change. And there we go. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Melech, Malachei HaMelachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Melech, Malachei HaMelachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Melech, Malachei HaMelachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Melech, Malachei HaMelachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Melech, Malachei HaMelachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Melech, Malachei HaMelachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Melech, Malachei HaMelachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Melech, Malachei HaMelachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Melech, Malachei HaMelachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Melech, Malachei HaMelachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Melech, Malachei HaMelachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Hinei matov u'manayim, shebetachim nom yachad. Hinei change. We sing Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. It is good.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. It is good to be here. I was telling Cantor Adesnik just before we began that I think it's been like 6 weeks since I've been in the building on a Friday night because of the schedule and the way that everything works out and the power outage that we had, which seems like a year ago at this point. And now it feels good to be joining you from the sanctuary, not from my office with Rabbi Rachel, here to pray together with all of you from all of your homes. My name is Rabbi Max Miller. I'm here, of course, with Cantor Lorna Desnick, and behind the camera, we have Mark Feinberg, and managing all the technology is our incredible executive director, Stephen Blick. We are so pleased to have all of you here. And if you are joining us, that means we want you to be singing and praying along with us. So please take out another device and open up the Daf Tefillah, our prayer sheet that has all of the prayers that we're going to be saying so that you can sing along and have the words with you throughout our service and join together in all of this Shabbos joy that we have. I also want to give a big shout out to the Goldstein family for you, Jack, as you are becoming a bar mitzvah tomorrow morning. It's a very, very exciting Shabbat, an exciting weekend, and an incredible, incredible time. I wish you all of the best. And let's just take a moment and wish everyone in our Facebook feed Shabbat Shalom. Greet everyone, welcome them to this virtual room that we are in, and we can continue singing a little Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom,
Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom. Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom. As we welcome in Shabbat, we take in some breaths, we steady ourselves. We leave behind everything that was in the past week, simply existing in this moment to appreciate that we have reached a new Shabbat with all of the opportunity to rest, to be still, to be with one another. We take in a deep breath and let it out. As we breathe in a second time, we think of all of our loved ones who we are so excited to virtually see over Thanksgiving in a week. And breathe it out. And with a third and final breath, we take in all of the joy that we are going to find in Shabbat and in the rest of 2020 ahead, that it will be a joyful time, and we will make it so. Deep breath in and out. As we prepare to light our Shabbat candles, I want to make sure that you now take the moment to light your own Shabbat candles if you have not already done so at home. And this would be a great time to get up, find those candles, put them in place, light that match so that you can light the Shabbat candles with Cantor Adesnik at this time. Please rise. The candle blessing can be found on page 120 or on page 2 of our Daf Tefillah.
1, 2, and in the midst of this darkness now, or just getting used to, I'm just getting used to the dark following at this time. So we bring even more of that Shabbat light into ourselves and our family, and that Shabbat warmth and energy and that Shabbat love. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Amen. We continue bringing ourselves closer to Shabbat, welcoming in the Sabbath angels of Shalom Alechem as we sing together, found on page 2 of our Daf Tefillah, or on page 142 in Mishkan Tefillah. Shalom Alechem.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, V'melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Bochem v'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. V'melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruch Hu Shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. V'melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Tzedchem v'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. V'melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
We bring ourselves deeper into the beauty of Shabbat with the Chadodi, found on page 3 of our Daf Tefillah, or on page 138 of Mishkan Tefillah.
L'chadodi, l'chadala, b'nei Shabbat, l'kabela. Sing that again. L'chadodi, l'chadala, b'nei Shabbat, l'kabela. Shamor v'zachor, v'divorecha, v'hishianu el hamelucha.
וכל המלאכה, מראש מכתר לסוכה, סוף מעשה שבחשבה תפילה. Get ready, here we go. לחדותי לקראת כלה, בני שבת לקראת לך דודי לקראת כלה, בני שבת לקראת התעוררי, התעוררי, כי בעורף קומי אורי, אורי אורי שיר דברי, כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה, לך דודי לקראת כלה, בני שבת לקראת אלה. Now that first beat, לך דודי לקראת כלה, בני שבת לקראת אלה. We rise facing the entrance of our room. בואי ושלום עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובצהלה, תוך אמוני עם סגולה, בואי חלה, בואי חלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, בני שבת לקראת אלה, לך דודי לקראת כלה, בני שבת לקראת אלה, בני שבת לקראת אלה. We remain standing for Baruch Hu, found on page 4 of our Daf Tefillah, or found on page 146 of Mishkan Tefillah. Yai na 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 na. Yai na 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 ya na na. Yai na 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 na. Yai na 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 na. Yai na 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 na. Ya na na. Yai na 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 na. Yai na 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 na. Yai na 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 na. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach, HaMevorach le'olam va'ed. HaMevorach, HaMevorach le'olam va'ed. We bring on the evening as we roll day into night, roll into dark, found on page 4 of our Daf Tefillah. Roll into dark, roll into night, night becomes day, day turns to night. Roll into dark, roll into light, night becomes day, day turns to night. Oreyom v'layla, kolelor mipnei choshech, kolelor mipnei choshech, v'choshech mipnei yom. Roll into dark, Night becomes day, day turns to night. All into dark, all into light. Night becomes day, day turns to night. All into dark, all into light. Night becomes day, day turns to night. We rise, planting our feet on the ground, feeling our shoulders back, our head held high, concentrating on the words of Shema, closing our eyes or finding them fixed on the page.
Shema Yisrael
Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Shema
Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto, Le'olam Va'ed. Please be seated. We continue with words of Ve'ahavta, which can be found on page 154 of Mishkan Tefillah, or on page 5 of our Daf Tefillah.
Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavecha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol me'odecha ve'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha ve'shinantam levanecha ve'dibarta b'am בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ושוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם לאות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם אלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם. אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
Our song of freedom, the song our ancestors sang on the shores of the sea as they escaped slavery, going to a promised land, going through the desert, marching together as one family, as one nation to our promise. Mi chamocha, please join with us, page 6 or page 158.
Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi chamocha nedar b'kodesh. Nora
Tehilot
oseh
Felech
Nora
Tehilot
oseh
Felech Adonai imloch le'olam va'ed. חוקי הים לפני משה ומרים, זה אלינו ויאמרו, זה אלינו ויאמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדר בקודש, מי כמוך באלים אדוני, Mi chamocha nedar b'kodesh. Sing along with me and Rabbi Mac. Torah Tehilot oseh Felech
Norah
Adonai Yimloch Leolam Va'ed. As night descends earlier and earlier these days, we are surrounded by darkness. And in those dark times, we pray to God that we will be sheltered by a Sukkat Shalom, a shelter of peace provided by our loved ones, by our community, and by God. Together, we provide that shelter of peace, that we may lie down after a long day and rise up to life renewed in the day to come. Hashkivenu, found on page 160 or page 6.
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu L'Shalom V'hamidenu Shomreinu L'chaim. 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 V'hamidenu Shomreinu L'chaim.
Every 6 days that pass, we have the opportunity to realize what was promised to the Israelites back in the desert at the foot of Mount Sinai, that we would have this day of rest, that we would have Shabbat to enjoy as a promise for eternity, and that promise that is full of a day of joy, of rest, of relaxation, of love. And we sing together Vishamru, found on page 162 or page 6.
Vishamru B'nei Yisrael et HaShabbat, La'asot et HaShabbat L'dorotam berit olam. Vishamru B'nei Yisrael et HaShabbat, La'asot et HaShabbat L'dorotam berit olam. Ve'liu ve'bnei Yisrael oti le'olam, oti le'olam, oti le'olam.
Vishamru B'nei Yisrael
et HaShabbat, La'asot et HaShabbat L'dorotam berit olam. Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai, asa Adonai et hashamayim ve'et haaretz. Vishamru B'nei Yisrael et HaShabbat, La'asot et HaShabbat L'dorotam berit olam. Vayom hashvi Shabbat vaynafash Shabbat vayinafash. Shabbat vayinafash. Because sometimes it takes a long time for Shabbat to come. Shamru
B'nei Yisrael et HaShabbat La'asot et HaShabbat V'dorotam v'ridolam V'shamru B'nei Yisrael et HaShabbat La'asot et HaShabbat V'dorotam v'ridolam. As we have arrived at the Amidah, we rise together, this central standing prayer that unites all of the Jewish people and all of our generations under God, together as a people, a nation, believers in the unity of God. We rise together, page 166, or page 7.
Adonai sifatai tiftach ufi yagid tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, v'Elohei avoteinu v'imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, v'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, v'Koneh Hakol, v'Zocher Chasdei Avot v'Imahot, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם בעזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע. משיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות ומידו מלך, מלך ממית ומחיה ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני מחיה הכל. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
Having prayed together aloud, we take these few moments to close our eyes, to pray those innermost thoughts that are written in our heart, on our souls, and on our minds, as we take just a few moments for ourselves in this silent meditation.
Say shalom b'mramav. May there be peace surrounding us, holding us during this time, so that we can bring that divine peace to everyone in this world. Say shalom b'mramav, say shalom aleinu. יעשה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל
In every generation of American Jewry, we have had a foot in American culture and in Jewish culture. Thanksgiving, more than any other day, has been an opportunity to combine Americanism with Judaism. More than a century ago, synagogues would have had morning services mirroring the customs of their Christian neighbors. Eventually, these services turned into communal gatherings across faith communities. Thanksgiving services have now become ecumenical opportunities to appreciate the breadth and diversity of our society. In many ways, Thanksgiving meal became Jewish simply because Jews were at the table. However, that is not where the traditions have ended. For the past few years, I have looked at our American civic holidays with an increasingly Jewish lens. My soul and my stomach are no longer satiated by apple pie on the 4th of July or turkey on Thanksgiving. I don't even eat turkey. I need something more on these American high holy days. A Jewish Thanksgiving should be more than dressing a bird and putting a proverbial kippah on top of it. A Jewish Thanksgiving ought to be accompanied by mindful acts and words that reflect our Jewish and our American identities. If we truly believe the words of the Ve'ahavta, the words that we said this afternoon, this evening, that Judaism is something that should be practiced at all times, with all of our mind, all of our might, and all of our soul, then these holidays beg for Jewish innovation. Surely Thanksgiving is about gratitude, but a Jewish Thanksgiving must also have, I think, tzedakah. And this year, it must include pikuach nefesh. Now, gratitude is more than saying thank you, though that's where it always starts. Gratitude in Hebrew is appreciating the moment in which we find ourselves. And in Hebrew, this is the word hoda'ah. how we arrived here, finding the appreciation in that. This starts with a blessing. When we say the blessing over the challah, the grape juice, or any of the food, we aren't just repeating ancient words. We are acknowledging that our food, our sustenance, comes to us through an enormous supply chain, from the grocer to the farmer and ultimately to God. A lot had to happen in just the right way for all of that food to make it to our table. If we don't offer a blessing, then we blind ourselves to the labor it took to raise the food and the divine miracle of the nature that permits the crops and animals to grow. And if your family is like mine in years past, many of us have labored in the kitchen for hours, maybe even days, only to scarf down the meal in 10 minutes and then stare at each other while we nurse some epic belly aches. We need to have that gratitude for those who make that meal. Judaism holds the words we speak in the highest regard. As our creation story goes, the universe was created through God's words, that God literally spoke the world into existence. However, words are not enough when it comes to helping our fellow human beings. At a Jewish Thanksgiving, we ought to take action to help our neighbors or those in our communities who have little during these very difficult times. We may choose to donate food, winter clothing, or money to those in need. Any of those are fine options, acts of tzedakah. And in fact, you can donate food and coats at Temple Emanu-El this Saturday at 4 p.m. But a Thanksgiving feast without tzedakah is like a Yom Kippur fast without the same. Feast or fast, our holiest times only become so when we help those in need through our deeds. As we focus on this unique year, even greater than the obligation of tzedakah, a Jewish Thanksgiving must fulfill the mitzvah of pikuach nefesh, which means saving a life. Judaism has no higher obligation or duty than saving our lives or protecting the lives of others. While tzedakah goes a long way to appreciate and improve our lives and the lives of those in our community, pikuach nefesh tops them all. Our actions this Thanksgiving must preserve life, not cut it down. How we choose to celebrate this holiday or not may allow us to celebrate many more Thanksgivings as a family. I truly believe that these are critical times, that a large Thanksgiving gathering could, God forbid, lead to funerals by Chanukah or the secular New Year. In halakha, Jewish law, we are permitted to violate Shabbat to save a life, ours or another. One of the reasons given in rabbinic literature is that violating one Shabbat will allow us to observe many, many more. Along the same lines, this year we should violate those traditional gatherings, break with what we are used to doing. This year, Thanksgiving should be a subdued and safe affair. In this way, we will celebrate many more as a family for many more years to come. What I tell young teens becoming bat or bar mitzvah is what I tell every adult in our community. The way to keep Judaism relevant, vibrant, and alive is by studying our millennia-old traditions and using them to draw meaning for what happens today. And these actions that I have laid out earlier, this is how we do that. Thanksgiving is the perfect opportunity to take our timeless tradition and bring it to our Thanksgiving feast table. Every day is an opportunity to live Jewishly, all the more so in these times and during these civic holidays. May our observance of this Thanksgiving lead us to greater acts of tzedakah, to words of hoda'ah, of gratitude, and to pikuach nefesh, the preservation of life for many, many, many years to come. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
So transitioning from this gratitude, we now have a little announcement, a few announcements that are happening particularly around Thanksgiving and around these days, as I mentioned. Tomorrow, 4 o'clock at Temple Emanu-El, we are having a drive-through coats and food drive. Please come by, donate coats, donate your winter coats that are lightly used, and donate food to help feed those who need extra food on their Thanksgiving table around these times, and also receive a blessing from your clergy ahead of this Thanksgiving. And also don't forget that tomorrow evening there is an amazing, amazing virtual Havdalah brought to you by our very own Dr. Artie Gummer and Cantor Desnick as well.
No, I get to watch while Artie leads us in the songs we love to sing.
Amazing.
It's going to be awesome.
It's going to be incredible. And so that is at our usual 7 o'clock time for Havdalah. So tune in and see Dr. Artie Gummer lead us in Havdalah. With all of this going on, we have so much to be thankful for. And for those grammar and Hebrew nerds, and this is truly a rabbi joke, that the word for Thanksgiving, as I said before, is hoda'ah. And in Hebrew, the word for turkey is hodu. And so if you have hodu is also to give thanks. And so it's very natural that turkey and thankfulness go together. It was in Hebrew millennia before there was ever a Thanksgiving dinner. And so as we enjoy all of these things to be thankful for, we arrive at our Shehechianu, as you let me say that incredibly nerdy Hebrew joke. And so,
oh, wait, can I add to the nerdy joke?
Please.
Okay. So I discovered this a few years ago, that also Hodu is the country India.
Correct.
So then we can also be really thankful for all the fabulous many cultures and colors and races around the world, and be grateful for that too.
Only in the Hebrew language is Hodu, Turkey, India, and thankfulness. It's amazing. Yeah. So, with all of that said, we transition to Shehechianu and giving thanks. And Cantor Adesnik, what are you thankful for from this past week?
You know, I'm really thankful for my husband, who is so grounding. So when I'm off running around and floating up in the air, he brings me down to earth, and he especially did that this week. I'm really grateful for that.
Nice. Awesome. I am very thankful for actually a number of things. So I am very thankful for my parents, my mom and my dad especially, because they have helped so much this week and many, many weeks going back with Zohara. And I am thankful that we have my in-laws here and that we celebrated my mother-in-law's birthday just this week. And so I'm very thankful that we got to celebrate that as a family, that they are in town and joining us, and they will eventually be able to unmask, and we can all be in a pod together. And so I'm just very thankful for the family that we have around us and the ability to celebrate these simchas in a very, very safe and appropriate way. And so what are you thankful for this Shabbat? What happened for you in the past week that is just bringing out more hodu, more turkey, India, or gratitude probably in you? Please put it in the Facebook feed, and we can collect all of these and bring all of that joy and gratitude together as we say Shehechianu, thanking God for enabling us to arrive at this moment.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehechianu v'kimanu v'higianu lazman hazeh.
Just as we give thanks for the ability to enjoy all of these amazing moments, we also know how important it is that we are a community who supports one another when we are in need of healing. And so in our community, we are praying for the healing of Brett Samsky and Andy Rush, Aaron Brody, Murray Goldstein, Sonny Abelman, Michael Walensky, Janice Apple, Harvey Apple, Shifra Bat Avraham Vasara, Motilapa ben Devara Halevi, Matthew Wilcox, Deborah Schwartz, Renee Waltzman, Shifra Batsara, Jeffrey Siegelman, Leah Menucha Bat Yitzchak Binyamin Veliba, Max Gans, Annie Solomon, Francis Fleischman, Sherry Russ, Selma Shapiro, Heather Walensky, Arlene Truffleman, Barry Truffleman, Herb Goldman, Ilana Miriam Bat Chava. If you are praying for the healing of a loved one or for yourself, please say their name aloud, add their name to the Facebook feed, and if you are with a loved one, please rise now and hook your arms and hold hands around one another, drawing each other close. And if you are praying by yourself this evening, know that we are wrapping our arms around you. We are with you, we see you, and we are holding you. Mishaberach lecholim, our prayer of healing for the sick, found on page 10.
Mishaberach avoteinu mikor habracha leimotenu. May the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mishaberach imotenu mikor habracha lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
So I'm sure you've already been way ahead of us at your Shabbat dinner table or the couch or the chairs, wherever you are, and with a glass of wine in hand. But now we formalize it with our Kiddush on Shabbat. And so now is the time to fill that glass up, raise it up nice and high as we say our Kiddush, giving thanks to the sweetness of the vine and the sweetness of Shabbat, found on page 123 or page 11.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho be'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu zikaron lema'aseh v'reishit ki hu yom techila למקראי קודש, זכר יציאת מצרים. כי בנו בחרת, ואותנו קידשת מכל העמים. ושבת קודשך, באהבה וברצון, הנחלתנו. Baruch atah Adonai Mekadesh HaShabbat. And we say together, Amen. L'chaim.
Delicious. And so we remain standing, or we rise if we were seated, as we prepare to conclude our service with Aleinu L'Shabeach. The words can be found on page 586 or page 12 of our Daf Tefillah. And at the end, we will bring back the V'hashevota, repeat after me, ending to our prayer. So be on the lookout for that.
Aleinu l'shabeach la'adon hakol, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם,
ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. והשבותה, your turn. והשבותה
אל לבביך,
אל לבביך,
כי אדוני
כי אדוני
הוא האלוהים.
הוא האלוהים.
Now you got it. והשבותה
והשבותה
אל לבביך,
אל לבביך,
כי אדוני
כי אדוני
הוא האלוהים.
הוא האלוהים.
And we sing ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד.
Please be seated. As we prepare to conclude our service, we do so in memory. We remember the names of our loved ones who are no longer with us, who died in recent days or in years past. In our community, we are particularly thinking of the families of Lucille Singer and Eva Littman, who are in the period of Shiva, and those in the period of Shloshim, the first 30 days of mourning the loss of a loved one, the families of Sander Bellman, Mary Males, Manuel Lifshez, Debbie Wertheim, Carrie Schultz, Edward Finfer, and those yard sites which occur around this Shabbat: Charlotte Aaron, Eunice Abishas, Dr. Robert Alberhasky, Karen Baker Robinson, Suzanne Chafin, Betty Cohen, Francine Diamondstein, Rosalind Fox, Maurice Friedman, Sarah Fromm, Bernard Gerber, Charlotte Gladstone, Zena Goldberg, Bernice Goldstein, Steffi Goldstein, Lydia Gordon, Jean Hanner, Sheldon Harrison, Odell Hurd, Maggie Hires, Phyllis Holmes, Edward Kessler, Jerome Kurtz, Joy Mark, Dorothy Mendel, Alana Mordler, Alan Piasek, Mantia Prop, Faye Schwartz, and Muriel Siegel, Nanette Shaw, Milton Siegel, Brian Silverman, Albert Smith, Sidney Stillman, Harriet Teller, Philip Turetsky, Louise Witten, Irving Wolfe, and Miriam Yegelwell. If you are in the period of Shiva, the first 7 days mourning the loss of a loved one, I invite you to please rise at this time. If you are in the period of Shloshim, the first 30 days, I invite you to please rise at this time. If you are in the first year mourning the loss of a loved one, I invite you to please rise at this time. And if you are commemorating the yahrzeit, the death anniversary of a loved one, I invite you to please rise at this time. And if it is your custom, as it is here at Temple Emanu-El, to rise for those who have no one to say Kaddish for them, I invite you to please rise now at this time. For so long as we have the names of our loved ones in our hearts and in our minds, their lives will forever be a blessing to us and to our families. We join together in Mourner's Kaddish, found on page 598 or page 13. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, be'alma divra chirutei v'yamlich malchutei, בחייכון וביומייכון ובחיי דכל בית ישראל, בעגלה ובזמן קריב ואמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מברך לעולם ועלמי עלמיה. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא. ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל, שמי דקודשה בריחו. לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, דאמירן בעלמה ואמרו אמן. יהי שלמה רבה מן שמיה, וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום, עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן.
עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל יושבי תבל ואמרו עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל יושבי תבל ואמרו אמן. Nay 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 yana nay yana nay 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 yana nay yana nay 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 yana nay 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 yana nay yana nay 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 yana nay yana nay nay nay. Oh say shalom במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל יושבי תבל ואמרו amen.
Wishing everyone a wonderful Shabbat Shalom. Stay safe, wear a mask, wash your hands, and have a happy, happy Thanksgiving.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom.